In this tutorial, we will go over the basics on how to manage your templates and use the flexible template builder to fully customize your notes, evaluation or intake reports, and treatment plans. First, when you go to the templates page, you will find separate template category tabs for notes, evaluation or intake reports, and treatment plan templates. Each tab has 3 sections. The first section includes the app's built-in templates, which you can use directly or as a baseline to create your own custom templates. Then below is My Custom Templates section, where you can find the templates you have created. Next is the Draft Templates section, where you can find the templates you are currently creating or editing, but have not yet published to your My Custom Templates section. To select an existing template as your default template, click the star icon on the top right of the template card. You can select a default template for each template category. To make your own copy of a built-in template and customize it, you can either click on the template card to open the template builder, or click the Create New Template button and select a built-in template to start with. You could also select the blank template to start from scratch. Let's select one of the built-in templates and click Continue. Once inside the template builder, you can make any changes you need, and then click Save Draft. This will create a copy in your Draft Templates section. You can continue working on this draft and keep saving it to come back to it later on. While working on your draft template, click the Preview button to check how the note or report would look. Once you complete your draft, click the Publish button to save it in your Custom Templates section. Now your new custom template will be available for you to select as your default template, or to select in the drop-down menu during notes generation. To edit a custom template, simply open it, make your changes, and save a draft. When you are ready, publish it to replace the old version. Note that while a template is in draft status, it won't be available for use until you publish it. To make a copy of a custom template and use it as a baseline for a new template, start by clicking Create New Template and select the custom template you want to copy. Then you can make any changes, save the draft, publish, and you'll have a separate custom template. Note that your custom templates are private by default. If you want to share your template with other colleagues, open your custom template, then click the 3 dots menu on the top right. Click Private Sharing. Copy the template sharing code that appears and share it with your colleagues via email or text. Then, they will be able to paste the code in the Shared Code search field and get the template. Note that they receive a copy of your template, so you are still the sole owner of your template. Now, let's open again any template to learn more in detail how to use the template builder. In the template builder, you can modify the template name and the template description. The template description is just used for your own reference. In the template sections builder, you have the flexibility to create any type of template structure to fit your needs, from simplified, streamlined templates to more structured and detailed templates, and anything in between. A template has main sections and subsections depending on the structure you create. Each section or subsection has a title, a drop-down menu to select the style the AI assistant should use to write this section, a prompt field where you enter the description of what this section is for, and any additional instructions for the AI assistant, including exactly what information to enter, in which format, and any examples you want to provide to the AI assistant to show exactly how you want this section to be filled out. You can use the handle on the left of a section to rearrange subsections or rearrange full sections. You can create 2 types of subsections, a list or a smart list. Here is an example of a list, the most common type to use, which is a simple list of subsections that will appear only once. Here is how the preview would look. And here is how it would look on an actual note or report, with the subsections only showing once. Here is an example of a smart list. In this case, we have a treatment plan template where we need to create a separate problem plan for each of the patients presenting problems. But each patient would have a different number of problems being treated. With a smart list, the AI assistant will create the needed number of problem plans based on the specific patient. Each problem plan will include its own problem diagnosis, goals, and plan details sections. Here is how the preview would look. Showing separate problem plans, each with its own subsections. Here is how it would look on an actual report, where each presenting problem for the specific patient has its own problem plan. Here is how you create these two types of subsections. Let's add a new section to show how to create a simple list. Then click the plus button on the bottom center and select either List or Smart List. When you select the List option, a new subsection is created. And you can click the plus button at the bottom of the subsection to create more subsections. Let's add another section to show how to create a smart list. And this time select the Smart List option. A subsection is created with a title and an index, which implies that this subsection or additional subsections will repeat as many times as needed, based on the specific patient. Finally, let's create a new template from scratch to clarify some concepts when creating a custom template. Click the Create New Template button, select Blank Template, and click Continue. Let's create a SOAP template for medical doctors, using mainly a compact narrative style that can be used both for initial visit and follow-up visits. Add a template name, which will appear on the templates page and in the templates drop-down menu when you are generating a new visit note. Add a template description, which is just used for your own reference. Let's create a template structure using just simple list subsections. Let's start creating the main sections: subjective, objective, assessment, and plan. Now let's start adding a list or subsections to the subjective section. First, a subsection for the chief complaint, using narrative style, then adding instructions to the AI assistant with a description of what this section is for and an example of how you want the AI assistant to write it. You don't necessarily need to add an example, but it helps if you want it to be written in a specific way. When you add an example for a section, it will also appear in the preview. You can either use the word example or also format as. Let's add a subsection for history of present illness, also using narrative style and with its own description and example for the AI assistant. Now let's add a subsection for current medications. Here, you could consider different ways to present the information. You could instruct the AI to use a bullet point style and provide an example of how it should be formatted. For example, if you want to add specific text formatting, you can start with these two simple markdown syntax tips. To add bold formatting to the medication names, add 2 asterisks before and after of the name. And to write a bullet list, add a dash before each list item. But let's say you prefer a more compact format for the current medications section. Instead of a list, you could instruct the AI assistant to write in narrative style a continuous paragraph with medications and their details, providing the relevant example of how it should be written. Since this is a medications list, where the number of medications depends on the patient's specific case, you can also consider the option of using a smart list and either add a single subsection with how you want the details of the medication to appear, for example, as a list. Or you could create a subsection for each medication detail. In this case, if you want to keep the structure compact and simple, you don't need to add separate subsections for each medication detail. And as we saw before, you don't even need to use a smart list if you want to keep the section short and simple. Here is a general guideline to decide when to use a smart list. If the information you need to capture may need to repeat several times based on the patient's specific needs, and you need to capture many details with specific instructions for each, then a smart list is a good choice. For this example template, let's keep the current medications section compact and simple as we initially had it, since the medication details are short and straightforward. Now let's add a few more subsections for allergies, review of systems, and social and family history, using a similar narrative style and a description and example for each. In the objective section, we'll add subsections for vitals, physical examination and diagnostics results, with a similar narrative style and providing instructions and examples for each. Looking at the section for vitals, you can see that we added an example of exactly how to display the information. You don't necessarily need to add an example. The AI assistant will provide the information the best way that fits the description you provide for this section. But adding an example helps the AI fill out the section exactly as you need it. Let's now add the subsections for the assessment section. For the problem list, it may be more appropriate to use bullet point style. We also added an example that shows how to format each problem item, including the ICD-10 code in parenthesis after the specific problem or diagnostic. You can define any format you need, even requesting to use ICD-10-CM or at some point ICD-11, whenever its use becomes standard. Finally, let's add the plan subsections. Notice that we added an additional subsection in the plan section to help summarize all ICD-10 and CPT codes related to diagnoses and services for billing and reporting purposes, with relevant examples. But we could have alternatively added this as a complete separate main section. As you can see, you can potentially add any information that you want the AI assistant to provide for each patient visit by adding the relevant section. For example, you could add a separate section for post-visit instructions to provide to your patient after the visit. We hope you found this tutorial helpful and that it gave you a good understanding how to use the templates and template builder to create notes and reports exactly as you need them. You can find more tutorials in the support sidebar menu. I'll see you in the next tutorial.